The objective of this lesson is to identify three-dimensional figures as having both an interior volume and an outer surface. In 5th grade, students found the volume of a right rectangular prism. In 6th grade, we will build on that knowledge to learn how to find the surface area. Here are some common three-dimensional figures that students will encounter in this lesson. Cube, right rectangular prism, right triangular prism, square pyramid, and triangular pyramid. We can describe the attributes of these three-dimensional figures by describing the number of faces, edges, and vertices they have. Let's go over the vocabulary for each. The face is a flat surface on a three-dimensional solid figure. In a three-dimensional figure, the base is any face upon which the figure can sit. The edge is where two faces of a three-dimensional figure meet. And a vertex is where two edges meet at a point. Let's examine this rectangular prism created by centimeter cubes. This prism has 6 faces. All the faces are rectangles. The prism also has 12 edges and 8 vertices. The interior of the prism can be described by the number of cubes that were used to construct the prism. This is also known as the volume of the prism. This prism was constructed with 30 cubes, so it has a volume of 30 cubic centimeters. Let's take a closer look at the faces of the prism. Here are the 6 faces of the prism. Each face is a rectangle. The front and back, top and bottom, and left and right pairs of faces are all congruent. These 6 faces represent the outer surface of each side of the prism. We can arrange the faces in a one-dimensional presentation that, if folded along the edges, we would be able to represent the outer surface of the prism. This is called a net. A net is a shape that is formed by unfolding the outer surface of a three-dimensional figure. Notice that the edges that are placed together are the same length. There are several different ways to arrange the faces of a rectangular prism into a net. All of these nets will also fold into rectangular prisms. Here are some examples of nets for other three-dimensional figures. A rectangular prism, a triangular prism, a cube, a square pyramid, and a triangular pyramid. To determine the three-dimensional shape from the net, focus on the shape and number of faces that are represented in each net. For example, this net is made up entirely of triangles. Therefore, it will fold into a triangular pyramid because that is a three-dimensional shape made up of 4 triangular faces. In subsequent lessons, we will be calculating the surface area of these three-dimensional shapes. The objective for this lesson was to identify three-dimensional figures as having both an interior volume and an outer surface. We met this objective by examining the faces of three-dimensional shapes and constructing nets to represent the outer surfaces of the shapes.